Oid yesh loimer. So he says, we can further say, he's trying to explain the two levels in the Shir Hashirim. It talks about oil. So it talks first about leriach shmanecho, that is the smell, the fragrance, the good fragrance of the oil. And then it talks about the shemen turak, that the actual oil, as you move it from one to the other, which is, turak means you emptied it from one keli to the other keli. Fragrance of oil, he wants to explain, is a lower level than actual oil itself. First, the pasuk says "Reach shmanecha," which is just the smell of the oil, the fragrance of the oil, and then the Torah talks about, the pasuk talks about shemen turak, about the actual oil. These are all levels of Torah, and as we learned in the previous Mamer, these are all the connection. Either a lower level of Torah is the level of the fragrance of Torah. In a way, a higher level of Torah is the level of oil itself. That's the shemen turak shemecho. As he learned earlier, that there is the two levels of betrothal, the erusin, and also the nisuyim. There is a connection to Hashem like level of erusin, engagement, betrothal, and then there is a marriage. The fragrance is like the betrothal. The actual oil is actually like a marriage. All the pasuk, as the Alter Rebbe explains and will continue to explain, is trying to tell us this is like a love between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people, the connection that we have to Hashem. And sometimes the connection comes through yayin, like we say, Tovim Deidecha B'Yayin. That is, that we have the level of Ava V'Yira from yayin. That would be the level of meditation. And then we're talking about a level when a person cannot reach it through yayin, so then he goes to the shemen. The shemen is the Torah. In shemen itself, we have the various different levels, the level of the fragrance of the oil and the level of the oil itself, which is two madregas of connection, in order that we, alomus ahovuch, so here in this world in Biyah, we should have a love to Hashem. So let's go look inside. These two ideas of the fragrance of the oil and that the oil pouring over, al derech mashmos pirush hamedrash Shir Hashirim, similar to what it's understood from the medrash in the Shir Hashirim. The mefarish of Diri explains that shemen turak, the oil that is emptied from one to another, hu madrega gavoya yoser, that is a higher level, mean l'reach shemanecho, from the level of the fragrance of the oil. She'einoi elo ke'ein reach ba'almo ma'ashemen. That is only just a fragrance from the oil. That's the l'reach shemanecho. Aval shemen turak, but oil that is emptied, hainu, that is ki odom shemedik mikeli likeli, that is like a person who is emptying from one vessel likli chavede to the other vessel. Shenoisen lo Hashem ba'atzmai. Then you're actually giving him oil. When you're letting the other person smell, he's smelling the oil, but he's not getting the oil. When you empty it from this keli into the other keli, that means you're giving him the oil itself. So that's the understanding from the Medrash. The Rebbe explained this. This is as based on what is written elsewhere in the Mamer, Dibra Maschil, Torah Tzivalon Chulu Beparas Abrocho, Shebeham Shocha Mitoira Shebiksav, Shu Bechinas Chosen, Letoira Shebil Pashu Bechinas Kale, Yesh Beis Bechinas Madregas. We know that the Torah Shabal Peh, the oral Torah, is a interpretation. It's a commentary on the written Torah, the Torah Shabiksav. So we are basically mamshich from the level of the written Torah into the oral Torah, into the Torah Shabal Peh. The Torah Shabiksav is called the Chosen. That is the groom, because the Torah Shabiksav is the mashpia. And when the Torah Shabal Peh is the recipient from the Torah Shabal Ksav. So from the Hamshocha, from the Torah Shabal Ksav, which is a Chos, to the Torah Shabal Peh, which is a Kala, yes, Beis, Bechinas, Umadregas. There are two levels and two steps of that Hamshocha from the Torah Shabal Ksav to the Torah Shabal Peh. Aleph, number one is Al Derech Neivlis Chochma Shalamayla Torah. It's similar to what the rabbis say. Neivlis Chochma. Neivlis Chochma means sort of the small levels of Chochma, leftovers, sort of small of above is Torah, which means that is the level of Torah as it's only sort of the Neivlis Chochma. V'nikra Erusin. That is called the level of Erusin. Shu Hamshocha Chitzonius. That is only an external Hamshocha. There is no inner connection, not like marriage, only an engagement. Zehu inyan, and that's the inyan of liriach shmanech, only a reach. Kumashikosu bilakuti toira betili mal posik vayakum edus v'yakulu. Zehu she'eno yelakerich zehu she'eno yelakerich ba'alma. They were saying that this is only a reach, it's a smell. It's a hamshocha of an erusin. It's only like a smell, which is Ha'oras Yisoid Abba. It's a ray of the Yisoid of Chochmah, but Veloy Mehusei Vatzmusei Mamish, but not the essence of Chochmah itself. It's only a ray. It's a smell, but not Chochmah itself. No Mabchina Habeis, but the second level. That is to bring down from the level of chosen to the kalo, from Torah Shabiksav to Torah Shabal Peh, which is mibchinas pnimius Torah Shabiksav, the inner of Torah Shabiksav. That's the level of marriage, and that's the inyan of the union. And together, Chosen Kal Einshol. That is the oil itself. Shenimshach Atzmis Hashem, the Chochma Ilah, the essence of the Shem of Chochma Ilah, B'Bchinas Malchus Torah Shabal Peh, which is level of Malchus. Torah Shabal Peh is from the level of Malchus, and Torah Shabiksav is the level of Chochma. And the way Chochma comes down to Malchus, it's either Chitzonius, which is called Erusin, which is called the Reyach Shmanecho, or it comes B'Pnimius, like marriage, from the Pnimius of Yisoid of Chochmah, not just the Chitzonius. That's called the actual Shemen, Atzmis HaShemen. And that means that Chochmah lo come Torah Shabal Peh, Chochmah into Malchus. And why is that? V'nimekol ze nimshach. From all these chokhmah, the pnim is a chitzonius, as the pasuk says, al kain alamos ahavucha. Alamos ahavucha meaning even the alamos. Alamos means an elam before she gets married. Loy kapilas dechar. She's not open to the level of yayin of understanding of Torah, still you bring down the level ahavucha, the level of love. The hainu, which is bechinas biyah shemekablim bechinas malchus. So that the biyah that receives from malchus should be able to get the level of ahava, should be ahavucha, the alomus, the biyah, which is helen vehester, it's a level of block, and so they too should get the level of malchus. Shehui moker the biyah, because malchus is bechinas malchus moker the biyah. Malchus is the moker of biyah. Meshikosu bezoyar chelik gimel dafnun chesed from the base and chelik base in kuf mem dalem mit base. Bayin oid chelik aleph tzadik chesed with aleph chelik gimel nun tes aleph, and also in ayin aleph amid base. So first we want, it comes down alamos into the biyah, and then specifically to every yid, malchus the atzilus, and likewise from the level of malchus the atzilus, nimshach li yizgilu lamata b'cholechad Yisrael, it becomes revealed by every yid, every Jewish person. Ayidei shemekablim aleihem oil malchus shemayim. When they accept the Malchus Shemayim, the heavenly kingdom, they accept the level Hashem's Malchus, which is the level of Malchus that we're talking about. V'azai be'esek ha'Torah, when a Yid learns Torah, then nimshach be'gamkein mibchinas, also in the Yid who learns Torah, when he accepts the Malchus Shemayim, he gets the two madregas, leriach shmanecha chulu, v'shemen Torah. He gets the fragrance, the chitzonius, and he also gets the pneumius, he gets the Shem and Torah Shmecha. He's both, when he learns Torah, he's engaged to Hashem, and he's also married to Hashem. That happens through his study of Torah. Not sure what happened here. That happens through his study of Torah. And that is also similar to the two ways of betrothal and marriage. And that is that it should be absorbed, that in his mind and his heart, he should be able to capture the light of Hashem. That's sort of the connection of the marriage, the betrothal and the marriage. Because when you learn Torah, Torah and the Eibishter are really one. So you are actually taking in Hashem, the Eir Hashem, through learning Torah. Because when you learn Torah, you are learning and you are taking Hashem, because Hashem and Torah are one. Bishatis konis. So what is the level of marriage? Shetikonis haizboninus b'kerev ish v'leiv omer. So that meditation should enter deep in your heart, inside the person, deep in the heart. As our sages tell us, Hamoir Shabo Machzira Lemutav, the luminary which is in Torah will bring him back to good. The Gemara uses this, the Chazal tell this, that even if a person is learning Torah for the wrong reasons and he's not doing it l'shem shamayim, he should still learn Torah. Why? Because the luminary which is in Torah will bring him back to good. It will bring him back. So you see that in Torah there is hidden the tremendous power to give the person the energy to bring him back. And also the pasuk b'shemen yimina yikra chulu einsha. So now he explains the order of the psukim. V'zehu the Metchila Omar. This is in the beginning. He says, "Ki toivim toidecha miyayin." It's best the Abba v'yira toidecha, the love of Hashem, when they come from wine. What is wine? Wine means when it comes to meditation, reflection. Yayin hu ha'izbananus ba'almodis galya. Wine is the reflection in the revealed world, when you reflect on the open things of the world. From that type of reflection, you get the level of kalo, which means you become yearning to Hashem. You get a hisoidus. Achidei sheyia av bechinas alomus ehavucha. Even in the level of alomus, in biyah, when you're stuffed, when you're not open, when the yayin does not impact you, even one whose heart is stuffed, and he does not become excited from the above mentioned reflection. So what do you do? So if you can't get the yayin to work, then you got to get the shemen to work. That is the level of occupation of Torah, shemen kenal, which is the level of oil. Asher anoichi mitzavecho hayoim. Say in the Shema. Shema is supposed to be the reflection, and we talked about earlier the reflection of
morning
Echad, and we talked about the reflection of Bechol Moedecha. So in both of these reflections, afterwards you learn the Torah, you come to the level Asher Anoichi Mitzavcha. Torah is the laws that I tell you. You say Anoichi, meaning you're getting from I. When the Eibishter says that I command you, it's not even any other name of Hashem. Anoichi Mishanoichi. The less machshava tfisa beiklau. No thought grasps it at all. So it's not a level of the yayin of his bonus, but and because it is such a high level, okay, yuchal lasis chakika v'keli gam it can also engrave and make into a vessel a person who has a stuffed heart. So what he's saying over here, sometimes a person feels that his heart can't open up. He's trying to reflect, and the Alter Rebbe is talking about a person who's davening, a person who's meditating. He wants to connect to Hashem, but he feels himself, his heart is stuffed. He can't open up. He cannot become a vessel. He cannot encompass. He cannot take in that level of love of Hashem. So then he has to learn Torah. What does Torah do? Because Torah comes from such a high place, it can engrave, it can take a stuffed place and make it into a keli. It can engrave it, it can carve out space in your heart, so then your heart will be able to start feeling things. The reason is because in order to make that carving in your heart, to open up your heart, you need something that comes from a high place. As explained in the portion of the Chukoysa and the Mamer Mevur Beitz Chaim. That through this, the Torah becomes an engraving from the inside in the Nefesh HaBahamis, in the animal soul. That is the well that was dug by the Sorim. Further, it's explained the Inyan over there. It says, "Libi ubesori," my heart and my flesh. Yeranenu el kelchoi will sing to the living God. So you have sometimes that you can understand levels of godliness, but in order for Libiu Bisori, you need to sing to whom Talkel Choil. I'm going to explain. Kine Halev Habosor. When you talk about a person's heart and a person's flesh, the fish, Shehem Kelim Gashmim, because they are physical vessels. Einam Nichsofim Lechatzeris Hashem. They don't yearn to the courtyard of Hashem. They're not inherently going to want to connect to Hashem. Shum Mokor V'Chaye HaNefesh. Chatzeris Hashem is the source and the life of the nefesh. When you're just going to reflect in the revealed world, in the world which is called the yayin, that Tovim dedecha meyayin, will not become excited because it's a physical heart and it's a material heart. It's gashmis. When you sing to the living God, which means you turn to Hashem Himself, the higher level. Why could it be impacted? Because when you reach into a higher level, it can come down to a lower level. So in order for your heart to open up, you have to reach into a higher level connection to Hashem in order to come down all the ways to your stuffed heart, to your libi b'sori gashmin. Shekol mashehu chinel yonu yoser. This is all in the Mamer over there. Whatever is higher level, yoser yichoyli later to lispasha lamata yoser can descend and expand lower. That way it comes and it touches till the heart and the flesh. Look over there at left. Similarly to that, it's over here. The lefi shebchi nasrei yachshmanecho v'shemen turak. Who hamshochem mibchino yen harbe yoser, because both the reach shmanecho and the shemen turak much higher than the yayin, than the wine, which is the hasogya, what you can grasp. It's a much higher the madreges hayayin. And we also know v'shemen sofa gabe yayin. When you put oil and wine, this oil will go on top, which means that higher shemen is a higher level. Not only that, Gemara Perikama the Shabbos that payment base over there. There's a machloikes. Shenechleku Rabbanon v'Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. There's a disagreement between Rabbanon and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. They want to know, is that a connection? So sometimes, if let's say something which is tomei will touch the oil which is on top of the wine, is it considered that you touch the wine also or not? That means is there such a gap between the oil and the wine that even though they're one on top of the other, we don't consider them connected because it's a much higher madrega. So you see that the oil comes from represents a much higher madrega than wine. V'hainu mipnei sha'ashemen hu gavoya me'od b'bchinas chochma ilah. Because the shemen is very high in the level of chochma ilah the kula, which is above, higher than everything, higher than chochma. Ilah the kula, it's above everything. Parshas Tzav daf lamedal lemedal. Lachein hu le'elo mibchinas hayayin chulu. That's why it's higher than high and higher than the level of wine. Because it's from a higher level, it can impact even the stuff heart. Lachein yuchal lahafil. That's why it can impact. Gam b'misha liba otum, even in person whose heart is stuffed. Sheyochok liboy, that his heart should be engraved al yidei divrei Torah, through the words of Torah. Sheyiyeh gam alomus ahavucha chulo, even the alomus, the stuff, just love Hashem. Uke'inyan, as we say, babarti beretz Mitzrayim, ani v'le malach. Why did it have to be just I? Hashem has to pass Mitzrayim, not a malach? Because the Yidden were in such a low madrege. In order to reach the level of the Yidden, the way they were in Mitzrayim, you needed Hashem himself to do that. You couldn't do it through an angel because they were on that level. Base. We can further say, the two levels of the Reach Shmanecha.
I don't know how.
And the Shem and Turak. What's the issue?
He's trying to put the heat on.
You can't put it on?
Yeah. He's trying to. We don't know how.
I'll put it on from here.
Oh, the rabbi is putting it up from there. He's doing it. The rabbi is doing it.
Oh, why is it so Dr. Lowe was up there? No. All right. I just put it on.
Okay, it's on. It's on. The heat is on. The rabbi turned it on from his...
I'm
talking to him.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm talking to the rabbi.
Oh, he knew I was going to...
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
We're good? Okay. Well, that is a similar... the two levels, also in this style of the Medrash, that the Reach Shmanecha is a lower level than the level of Shemen Turak. Says that this is like the idea of La'olam Yishalish Odom Talmudei. We will have also the level of Yayin, Shemen, and Shemen in the three parts. It says a person should always split his learning into three parts. Shlish b'mikra, 1/3 learn the Chumash, Torah shebiksav. Another one is Shlish b'mishnah, 1/3 in the learning of the study of the Mishnah, which is halacha. And then Ushlish b'talmud, 1/3 in the Talmud, that's the expanding and ideas that he's learning. So we will see that there is a difference that the limud ha-mitzvahs, Mishnah v'Talmud, when you learn the mitzvahs, when you learn the Mishnah and you learn the Gemara, masig v'toifas hamahus chachmasa yizbarich. So then you grasp and you get the essence of Hashem's wisdom. When you're learning, you understand what you're learning. So you're grasping the actual wisdom. Because it has been dressed up in physical matter. Hashem's will and Hashem's wisdom. So both the Mishnah and the Talmud, those are, you can actually grab hold of them because you understand it. That's considered the level of Shem and Torah that you grab. But then there is a fragrance of Torah, which are the stories of Torah. That's not something, that will be the Reach Shmanecha. I said before the Shlish also Yayin, but here he's dividing it into the two parts. Mishnah and Talmud are graspable. Those are Shemen, the actual Shemen, and the level of the stories of Torah, which are not graspable. They're just like the fragrance. As opposed to when we have the stories in Tanakh, We don't grasp at all Hashem's blessed wisdom, which is dressed up in the words and the combination of the letters. Over there it says, the simple understanding from the stories of the Torah, that's nikra levusha de'oraisa. That's sort of a garment of the Torah. It's not Torah itself, but it's a garment. Ubir Ramaz Shom, so the Ramaz explains over there, he tells you about all the kings that were in the land of Edom. It's a story about the kings that were kings there. He goes through all the story. For sure, this actually happened. And the verse cannot be taken out from its literal meaning. It means that it actually happens. But what is Hashem's intent of writing this in the Torah? Not to tell us just the story, what took place with the kings of Edom. Over there are hidden the secrets of the world of chaos, are hidden in Esav. Further, over there, he explains it also at length because of his illustration. And he writes, this is the language that he says. When a person comes to study in Torah, so you have to have in mind that he's learning that subject, those are godly matters. It's hidden from him the powerful inner meaning of all these stories. Even though he can only understand the simple meaning, but he has to know that this is all godly stuff, godly matters that are hidden in those words. Goes without saying that even if you don't understand at all, you still get a good reward. You're still studying Torah, even though you're just reading it as a story. Therefore, the letters of the Torah, the simple story, that's nikra reach shmanecha. That's just the fragrance. It's the smell of shmanecha. Even though it's not understood, he doesn't grasp all the inner of the blessed wisdom haganuza. That he doesn't understand that all the secret in this. What do they mean? As opposed to mashenkein ba'askolas pshat adinim, as opposed to when understanding the meaning of the lochas v'hamitzvahs, k'mei shabo b'biyur ha'mishnah v'hagemara, that the way we explain the Mishnah, the Gemara explains the mitzvahs, shagam ha'pashtius, that also the simple hamuvon nikra gufi Torah, that is called the body of Torah v'loy levusha levad. It's not just a garment. Ayin shom bezoyar u'bepardes. So, even though he doesn't understand the hidden part of the Torah, they are the fragrance of the oil. That in them and through them, the one who reads the pasuk brings down the reach of the holy fragrance. Going to bring down but we ran out of time, and the Mitzvah Shem, we'll finish up tomorrow. Bezrat Hashem.